Hello, my name is Jimmy, and thank you for joining me in the 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe. This is the ultimate calligraphy top trim, which means that there's a lot of fancy stuff in here, including a really fancy headliner, which is very, very soft. And I like to pet it, which means that it's going to get dirty really, really quick. For 2024, a lot of the Santa Fe is new, but there are some carryover items, and that's okay. So let me tell you, well, all you need to know, starting with the looks. Let's be honest, it looks like a Defender, and that's okay. There's a lot of inspiration from it. However, I think what the Hyundai engineers here are trying to develop is something that's just a little bit more unique rather than just a box on wheels. I mean, if you look at the Pilot, for example, there's not a lot of flair to it. It's a good SUV all around, but doesn't stand out in a crowd. This does. And for Hyundai, I mean, that is going to be important because they have a lot of SUVs. So why not give you options? Why make every single vehicle the same? Doesn't really make sense. On the front, we got a bunch of H's. From the headlight to the grille, everything has some sort of H pattern to it. On the side, depending on trim, wheels do differ. On this calligraphy model that we have here, we got 21-inch wheels, which I think it's a little big. I would have stepped down to 20s, give you a little bit more sidewall for a slightly better ride. Out back, it's pretty flat back here. I mean, I'm sure some people will love a flat rear end, but some people love a curvaceous rear end. Whatever you like, hey, I'm sure Hyundai has an option for you. But this one, yeah, it's definitely a little bit weird. The LED taillights, they look kind of cool, especially with this H pattern. Because it is integrated with the tailgate itself, what's great about it is you actually get a really large opening. Because in here, I don't have the actual cubic feet and measurement for it. I'll upload that in my face later on. But it's actually a really good width because it's 6 inches wider than before and 3 inches taller than the previous generation Santa Fe. So it's easier to access that rear end. And on the calligraphy model, you can even remotely fold down the second row. That's a cool option. But it's kind of weird that the second row gives you that, but the third row you have to manually do it. Whatever. I think for most people, they're not going to be using that third row much anyways. But let me show you that. As for getting into the third row, as this is the calligraphy model, so you get 6 seating, you can't go through the center. There's additional button right there. But because the calligraphy has power seats for the second row, it just takes a second, but it does spring forward, which is nice. And then once you're back here, you just slide that seat back and then press that button on the top and it'll slowly come back up. You can pull the seat further back if you need, but at this position, it's not bad. Knee room is actually quite terrific. I'm 5'11" and I still got plenty of headroom, which is nice. Although I must say my knees are definitely a little higher than I like. I mean, I can sit cross-legged as there's only 2 seats back here. That shouldn't be too bad, but I mean, if you're going to be a little bit taller, definitely call one of the seats up front. What's nice is I do have my dedicated fan controls here on the right-hand side, a vent, as well as USB-C ports. So it's not like, you know, when you go all the way to the back, you're left with nothing. But let's move up a row. As for the middle row, with the seat position basically as far forward as I can, my knees are right against the front seat with the front seat set to my height, but headroom is plentiful. But of course, I can't slide it back. Even in the calligraphy model as we have here, it is a manual slide, but it is a powered tilt, which is nice, and you get a powered seat bottom so you can adjust the angle as well. In terms of actual like amenities and whatnot, I got vents on the side, which I actually really like the placement of those. I got my baby shades on the side, heated seats. Sadly, there's nothing right here in the center. I would have liked something rather than this empty cavern. But what's cool is there's this space here, which is actually shared with the glove box. And you get grocery hook hangers, USB-C ports, right on the front seats. As this press tour is here in Vancouver, I was lucky enough to bring all my car seats with me. So let me show you exactly how car seats fit. On the driver's side here, I have the Kleckling base. Putting the carrier inside was not a problem as the doors are nice and wide. I was actually quite surprised I was able to fit 3 seats across within the Santa Fe here. As for forward-facing seats, no problems getting that into the second row or even the third row. Yes, I was able to fit boosters as well as forward-facing seats in the third row. The only thing I would note is the headrests within the third row are not removable. In terms of lower anchors, you have 4 sets. As for upper anchors, you may have 5 or 4, depending if you have the bench or the captain's seat variant. As for the front seats, top of the line, so I get luscious Napa leather, heated, cooled seats. No massaging, but you do get the lounge mode that was found in the Ioniq 5. I mean, you're not charging this vehicle, however you get that option, but it's only on the driver's side, so you can recline the seat all the way back and get a little bit of footrest on the bottom as well. That's not really needed in my opinion, but hey, why not give you more options? In front of me, this steering wheel is very much a copy of JLR. It has that Defender look to it. Of course, it has your typical H 4 dots in the center and all the buttons are on the side. Just like the Kona, the volume button's on the right rather than on the left, so that's been bothering me just a little bit. Behind, you get a 12.3-inch cluster, as customizable as you really need. Different gauge styles, how it looks can be configured as well. And in the center, you get another 12.3-inch infotainment screen. This is running on Hyundai's latest system, so it's capable of over-the-air update. There's wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, and that's even from the base model. So that's great for everyone. You do get some buttons down below for your infotainment, but the climate control, sadly, that is a touchscreen in the center, which some people are going to complain about. But for me, I hit that auto button and it's totally fine. You do get 2 Qi wireless chargers here in the center on the upper models. On the standard ones, you only get the single one. And what's kind of weird is you get 2 glove boxes, and the upper one has UVC for sanitation purposes. Are you ever going to use it? Probably not, but it's probably kind of cool to show your friends. In Canada here, there are 2 powertrains. There's a hybrid, and then there's this, the 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It makes 277 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. All of that is fed through an 8-speed and all-wheel drive. It's the same powertrain as the previous generation Calligraphy, and I love this powertrain. It's similar to like the GV70, GV80 that's from Genesis. It's plenty powerful, it has really good pickup, and well, the shifting of it is well sorted for a Hyundai. The reason why I say that is, for example, right now I'm on smart mode, which is like its own kind of algorithm. When I step on it, it takes that second. It is a little bit slower than I personally would like, but for most people, I'm sure it's going to be fine. It's just those off chances when you need to overtake someone, or, I don't know, pass a big truck, or get ahead of the big truck when you're on an on-ramp. That can somewhat get in the way. On the road, the Santa Fe felt like it should. Soft, comfortable, but with the 21-inch wheels, it could send a little bit more to the cabin than some may like. I also had a chance to drive the XRT trim, and that features the 18-inch wheels and tires, and the ride was noticeably softer. The Santa Fe is designed to take corners at a leisurely pace, and that's exactly the style it needs. Besides, with all the great adaptive cruise control and lane centering, it can practically drive itself. Honestly, I do like the new direction that they're taking with a lot of their new vehicles. The soft touch materials. It's just actually a really nice cabin, and I'm enjoying myself quite a bit. The car itself is actually very competitive in this segment because now they have 2 3-roads. If you need something a little bit bigger, the Palisade's there for you. If that's a little bit too big and you just don't ever need that third row, well, you can get the Tucson. But I think this in the luxury trim is the best option, because with that, you still get a perfectly fine 3-row with a bench for the second, so you can hold all your kids and all their gear behind that second row without fumbling, well, with captain seats. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Like it if you do, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.